I was halfway through reheating day-old noodles when the knock came. It wasn't the polite, hesitant tapping of a neighbor or the hollow thud of a delivery driver. It was a single, measured impact. Heavy, deliberate, as if whoever stood on the other side knew exactly how much force it took to announce themselves without damaging the door. I remember thinking, absurdly, that it sounded like authority. I wiped my hands on my shirt and checked the clock. 22:47. Too late for guests. Too early for regrets. The apartment complex hallway camera on my tablet showed a tall figure standing perfectly still in front of my door. She was wearing full armor. Not costume armor. Not cosplay. Real layered plating that caught the hallway lights in dull, matte reflections. Dark steel with unfamiliar seams, overlapping like scales engineered by someone who understood both aesthetics and warfare. A helmet enclosed her head entirely, smooth-faced except for a narrow horizontal visor glowing faint blue. I stood there staring at the screen for a long, silent 10 seconds. Then she knocked again. I didn't call the police. I didn't run. Curiosity has always been my most dangerous trait. Open the door. Up close, the armor was even more intimidating. It hummed softly. A low vibration I felt in my chest rather than heard. She stood at attention, hands empty, posture rigid but non-threatening. Slowly, with a precision that suggested ritual, she reached up and removed her helmet. She was human. Mostly. Her skin was a shade too pale. Her eyes an unnatural silver that reflected the hallway lights like polished chrome. A faint network of glowing lines traced her temples and vanished beneath the armor's collar. She looked exhausted. "Daniel Mercer," she said, pronouncing my name perfectly. "I am Knight Commander Ela Tvarin of the Hellion Compact." Blinked. Wrong apartment." "No," she said. "This is the correct location. I have confirmed it through 17 independent historical records." "That's comforting," I said weakly. She met my gaze, and for the first time her composure cracked. Something desperate flickered behind those metallic eyes. "I am here," she said, "to ask humanity for help." I laughed. It burst out of me before I could stop it. Stress response. Defense mechanism. Right. "And I'm guessing this isn't about a charity drive." Her expression didn't change, but the air seemed to grow heavier. "The Hellion Compact is losing a war," she said. "A war we should have won." I let her in. We sat at my small kitchen table. Her massive armored frame somehow folding itself into a chair clearly not designed for interstellar warriors. She declined food but accepted water, removing one gauntlet to drink with bare fingers that looked human except for faintly glowing circuitry beneath the skin. She told me everything. The Compact was a coalition of over 40 species, technologically advanced, militarily disciplined, and utterly unprepared for what they had encountered beyond the Perseus Veil. An enemy they called the Devourers, adaptive, relentless, immune to most conventional energy weapons. They learned faster than any AI, evolved mid-battle, and turned every defeated fleet into raw material. "We have lost 12 core worlds," Ela said quietly. "Entire species extinct. Our doctrines are perfect. Our technology is superior. And none of it matters. So why Earth?" Yes. "We're barely holding ourselves together." "Because," she said, "you are inefficient." I raised an eyebrow. "You are unpredictable," she continued. "Your weapons are crude. Your strategies are inconsistent. Your militaries argue with themselves. Your machines explode as often as they function." She leaned forward. "And yet you win." He showed me footage. Humans in exosuits boarding alien vessels with ballistic weapons instead of plasma. Old tanks retrofitted with scavenged tech pushing back horrors that tore through energy shields. Pilots manually overriding safeties to ram enemy flagships. Engineers turning mining equipment into planet-killing artillery in a matter of days. You do not fight to preserve doctrine, Ela said. You fight to survive. And when survival is on the line, humans become terrifying. I stared at the table, my reflection warped in the metal surface. So what's the request? Yes. He stood. With a sound that echoed like thunder in my tiny apartment, she dropped to one knee. I ask that humanity teach us how to fight when all hope is lost. The room was silent except for the hum of her armor. I didn't answer right away. Not because I didn't care, but because the weight of it pressed down on me like gravity. You came to the wrong guy, I said finally. I'm not a general. I'm not a soldier. I design logistics software. Her eyes softened. Exactly, she said. You understand chaos. You design systems meant to function when everything goes wrong. Took 3 months. 3 months of secret meetings, of governments panicking, of generals arguing, of scientists salivating over alien tech. 3 months before Earth made its decision. We didn't send our best fleets. We sent volunteers. Old ships retrofitted with human ingenuity. Crews trained not to follow orders blindly, but to adapt, to improvise, to break rules the moment they stopped making sense. I went with them. The devourers didn't know what hit them. Humans didn't fight clean. We didn't fight fair. We used decoys, feints, psychological warfare, and sheer stubborn refusal to die. When shields adapted, we switched to kinetics. When tactics were countered, we changed them mid-battle. When all else failed, we charged. Ela fought beside us, her perfect form slowly giving way to something wilder, more human. She laughed in combat, and cursed. She made impossible decisions and trusted her instincts over doctrine. The turning point came at Helios Prime. The devourers had surrounded the system, confident, consuming. Human ships jumped directly into the heart of the formation, broadcasting a simple message across every frequency. We're still here. The battle was chaos. Glorious, terrible chaos. And for the first time, the devourers hesitated. They didn't understand sacrifice. They didn't understand spite. They didn't understand a species that would fight on with nothing left but anger and hope. When the war ended, the compact was changed forever. Ela visited me again years later. This time no armor. Just a uniform bearing both Hellion and human insignia. You saved us, she said. No, I replied. We just showed you how. She smiled, a real smile this time. And humanity, she asked. What do you gain? I looked out at the stars. A reputation, I said. And maybe a reminder to the galaxy. She nodded. Never knock on a human door unless you're prepared for what answers. Years later, when the war had become a lesson instead of a legend, Ela returned one final time. No armor. No rank. Just gratitude. Your people changed the galaxy, she said. I shook my head. No. We just reminded it of something important. She waited. That when you push humanity to the edge, I said, looking out at the stars, we don't fall back. She smiled softly. We stand our ground. And somewhere beyond Earth, every civilization learned the same truth. Never knock on a human door unless you're ready for the consequences.